Hi traders, and welcome to the daily recap show for today, which is Wednesday the 26th of January, which is FOMC day today. So we'll start with the Ftse as always. We said breaks above the 74.50 to 58 zone can see moves towards 74.86 to 74.95. If we gain acceptance above 74.86 to 95 and a hold above there, then the bulls will be back in control and we'll be able to switch our bias back to the bulls. So let's sort of sit there and see what happened with the Ftse today. Okay, so I just wanted to point something out which happened on the hourly chart on the Ftse. So you can see here we've got a bit of a breakout pattern happening now. This was pre-market, and notice how, although we've got this little move down here, we'd had a couple of touches of this resistance area. This was the 74.50 to 58 area, and this is why I was sitting there saying moves above there could see moves to that 74.86 to 95 zone, because we had this breakout pattern that was developing where the move was starting to coil into this resistance zone, touching the resistance zone and then holding that 8 moving average. So that is what I was looking at pre-market here. So you could, if you wanted to, you could have put an order in above that sort of 74.60 area with a stop below the zone and targeted the zone above for a breakout on the hourly chart. But let's go and have a look at the action on the lower time frames as well now. So as you can see, the market opened here, market moved straight into the resistance. There was no pattern, apart from taking a straight break up, there was no pattern whatsoever to get in on that move up to that 86 to 95 area. We saw that move in a straight line, which very rarely happens. We was looking, once we broke above and we got the acceptance above this zone, I would have traded if we'd got a pullback into this zone and a continuation pattern. But we didn't see a continuation pattern until here, which was actually reacting off what was potentially resistance. So it's quite a tricky trade to take when, although it's with the price action, it's with the momentum. So you've got, in isolation, it's a very good continuation pattern, a strong impulsive move up, pull back to the moving averages, continuation pattern, which actually does work. Moves above that resistance zone, pulls back and holds it as support here and here, and actually later on over here. It's actually quite tricky to take because it's back into that resistance zone. So that was the only real opportunity, but it's not high probability because of the reasons that we've just said. You've got the pullbacks here. This is a really nice, strong bullish candle, but again, maybe the risk to reward isn't too good on this one. And then we got that acceptance above that 86 to 95 zone. We then moved up to the next zone of resistance that we had at 75.21 to 31. We didn't mention this in the report. I'll be honest, I didn't really expect us to get up this far today. But we saw, once we got that acceptance above that 74.86 to 95 zone, we saw the move up to that resistance zone. It was labelled in our report, but it wasn't specifically mentioned. We got a really nice reversal pattern from that zone, and that was the catalyst for this impulsive sell-off. And actually, we've ended up back below this 86 to 95 zone. So although we've seen acceptance above that zone intraday, we've seen that sustained break. We hit resistance at that 75.21 to 75.31 area, and then we've sold off, and we're now back below that 86 to 95 zone. So again, we're going to have to see where we are. Intraday, the zones work great. Intraday, the analysis was great. We're going to have to wait and see what action happens overnight as to see where we are in the morning. We can wipe the slate clean and we can go again tomorrow. So hope the analysis has helped you today. Let's now go and take a look at the DAX. Okay, so the DAX, we said, although we kept the overall bearish tone, if we saw sustained breaks above this 275 to 300 area, then this could open up a move towards 440 to 460 resistance. We said we should be aware of false breaks around that area. Then we spoke a little bit about some support zones. So let's now go and take a look at the DAX. We also mentioned this that above the next zone of support above 440 was 585 to 610. So let's go and have a look and see what happened in the DAX today. Okay, so pretty much like the Ftse, you can see, in fact, even more impulsively than the Ftse, we saw this initial push up. No breakout patterns here to even try to get long on the break above the 275 to 300 area. We just broke straight through it. We hugged. We didn't even get any pullbacks to the 8 EMA here on the DAX. We just carried on pushing higher and higher and higher. And even when we got this shallow retracement into the zone, we got the acceptance above the zone and the pullback. We didn't even make it to the 20 moving averages for a really solid continuation pattern. So very, very tricky. This is a strong move. We sort of predicted it in terms of the price action where we were saying above the zones we could see moves to this zone up here, which initially acted as resistance, and then you can see we broke above it. Notice, actually I'll come back to this in a second. So we used it as resistance all around here. We broke above it, and then we used it as support here before getting that sell-off in the afternoon with the US markets, and now obviously the FOMC has again pushed us a little bit lower below this 440 to 465 area. So a bit like the Ftse, we need to see where we are in the morning. We're going to need to see where we are tomorrow as to how we tackle the markets. Now, I just want to show you this pattern here. This is a false break pattern, but it's not one you would take. The reason you wouldn't take it is because the false break pattern is above the zone. The pattern in and of itself is not enough to trade. You need to tie it in with the context, you need to tie it in with the zones, you need to tie it in with the analysis. If you just see candlestick patterns happen, that alone is not high probability enough to take. But when you tie it in with the context and you tie it in with the zones that we provide, that can provide the really high probability setups. So that is the analysis for the DAX today. Again, so we saw the moves, we predicted the price, where the price would move around the zones, but unfortunately that move was very difficult to get in on today, as it offered no retracements. The only way to get in on these moves was through breakout patterns, which you could see on the Ftse 1 hour chart. That was really the only way you could have got into these moves today. So guys, I hope you found this useful, and I will speak to you again tomorrow. Cheers.